Let's touch on some Six Nations. We don't have that much time, but I do want to discuss it because it's an amazing first weekend. I want to kind of just touch on the three matchups, but I want to focus on what we should focus on because we're doing a weird preview of the Six Nations. And again, like we're previewing it after week one, but we don't really have answers as any great week one gives us because we don't know if what we saw means one thing or if it means the other. So that's the way we're going to look at it. The three matchups. France, Ireland, of course, started it off one of the best Six Nations memory in recent history. Phenomenal. I think we're all nervous with, Johnny Sexton and a new era. Peter O'Mahony's first game as captain. Were Ireland going to be the same team they were walking into the World Cup, or were they going to be a shell themselves? And again, they answered that with flying colours. Was Crowley going to be able to replace Sexton? And he answered it with flying colours, particularly in the second half. So I guess the questions that we have from that are, which are you taking more? And again, obviously, both of these will probably be true to some extent. Do you think we should look at Ireland with Crowley replacing Sexton, or just business as normal? They're still the best team in the world when you kind of weigh things out, not in a World Cup setting, and they've just hit the ground running. Or do you feel that France are the people that actually need to be worried? And that's actually the story that matters when we get to the Six Nations, of course. Dupont is out chasing his Olympic dreams. So where are you how are you reacting to this? Which way do you lean?
I mean, it must be horrible for everyone else to look at Ireland going, right, they've lost their talisman. This is the chink in their armor. And look, they've got all these young lads coming through, like these new fellas who haven't played Six Nations before, Calvin Nash, Joe McCarthy, load of other people. And look, they were after cotton on to Andrew Porter at the scrum now. Here's our chance. They just come out and just dominate your biggest rival in the tournament in their own backyard. Caveat 14 men, of course, but and there were moments in the first half as well, in particular, where it looked a little bit hairy, but still came out record score in what we've done. If I was a French supporter, I'd be quite worried. Now we do need to talk about Dupont, because losing Dupont is like taking Messi out of peak Barcelona. Well, not peak Barcelona, but when he was only the Messi show, where it's like you lose so much. It's not quite like losing Sexton in terms of how you play. It'd be like if we lost Jamison Gibson Park for the, like, again, not just positionally, but in terms of the impact he has on the game and how his team play. They had a load of injuries as well, but I'd be concerned then that our French strength and depth is nowhere near what they thought it was. And then you look at Ireland's strength and depth, and that's what people want it to be. That's what the French were probably hoping it would be, and they found out the hard way that's not what it is.
Mm. I loved. I finished Full Contact. I didn't get to watch in time for the Six Nations, but I finished it there last night. And Italy are, if you watch Drive to Survive, Italy are the Haas of Full Contact. You know what I mean? They come close to doing something, but in the end, they just never achieve anything. But they did it again. They were so true to form against England, racing out to an early lead and then being pegged back. And the score was 24-27, but that's flattering. It was padded by a late Italy try. How are you kind of weighing that up? Italy, have they come out swinging under the new coach, or was England's World Cup a fluke and they're back to being bang average again as they were last season?
I mean, in terms of how again both camps will be feeling, I think Casada will be so annoyed that after that really good performance, like, right, we've a chance to build momentum here. Where's our next fixture? Is it a nice trip to Murrayfield? Is it to the Millennium Stadium? No, it's to Ireland. So they've those positives. Like, again, if there is, I've seen a lot of people talk about it. It's like there is a point where Italy are going to have to stop being kind of like the luckless losers, where it's like you need to make that step up soon, not soon. Like, you've seen it over the years. You've seen so many. This is the point now. Italy, they're going to be brilliant now in the next couple of years. They're going to have a nice World Cup scheme. Having said that, now I watched the Ireland game in full. I watched the England game in full. We'll get to Scotland one in a minute. They had no real opportunity when England had done their comeback. England got the comeback fairly quickly and start the second half, and then just showed experience and just suffocated the way, like, killed the game, killed any hope. It was like it's Steve Borthwick, it's Kevin Sinfield on the defense as a defense coach in rugby league history, and you can see exactly how that worked with shutting that game down. And again, professionalism, professional performance. Like you say, score pattern a little bit, but England did not get a bonus point. Could cost them a championship. Could cost them a higher place finish in the championship as well. They're against bright shoots from Italy, but like, again, of all the fixtures to get where you want, like, Ireland are just going to kill all them bright shoots before they even get out of the ground, and we're going to start the whole cycle again. England, not so concerned as I would have been.
Yeah. Look, it's a difficult first game. It's like in the darts in the World Championship. You want to just get out of the first week and get to the other side of Christmas. And England, unfortunately, did that as much as it would have been. Imagine Italy were to get their big win against England. It was just so perfectly set up. But yeah, then exactly what we thought would happen happened. Wales Scotland is a really an absolute belter of a game. Obviously, with Scotland raced out to a 27-0 lead. Wales pegging them back for 26 in the second half, but just couldn't get over the line on time. Very difficult to know because you've got two of the most unknowable teams in the Six Nations. Obviously, you've got Louis rees-zammit and missing. He's chasing his own NFL dream, and then you have, of course, George North was missing for Wales on Sunday. But then you have Scotland as well, like always, kind of highly tipped in the World Cup, but they flattered to deceive. Are you taking this as kind of, Wales are better than expected, or Scotland are worse than expected, and they're actually they should be worried? How do you read it? How do you read a match that starts 27-0 and finishes 27-26? It's a mindfuck.
You read it by it being 15 against 14 for the majority of those 26 points in the second half.
Mm.
And that is a situation, like, again, on paper, and if you just saw the BBC headline or RT headline, it would be like, oh my God, what happened there? Scotland completely bottled. And it's like, well, yeah, like 27-point lead nearly thrown out the window. Very similar to how Scotland pulled back a 31-point lead or a 27-point deficit in Twickenham a few years ago, where it finished 31 all. And it was just a quick, like, kind of like a show that game, show either of these games to anyone who doesn't believe that momentum exists in sport. It does. It just does. Like, again, the yellow cards, I think, were key. I think like, again, if you with the extra man, and obviously Warren Gatland as well, Gatland Warren ball, like, he'll find a way. Like, even the last try, again, as I mentioned, didn't watch this one live, watch the extended highlights. It's just a case of, right, we'll just tuck it up the jumper, get it from the line, I'll get it down, just barge over, and that works. Like, again, it's worked for Gatland in press, and you've seen him win Grand Slams with it. Obviously, you can't do it this year now, but again, when you're 27-0 down, it would take a lot of other teams would have just gone, sure, we might get one or two back. And then a yellow card, you get your first try, and then suddenly momentum comes into it. And Scotland, I think Scotland 5 or 6 years ago probably would have let that game go as well, but they did show again that they were able to, like, just about repel it, but to repel it they did. They didn't lose that game when it was looking, like I say, if you looked at the betting odds when it went 27-26, it would have been Wales probably odds on to win the fucking thing. But again, Gregor Townsend has them playing well, resolutely enough. And again would have been let go 5 years ago. Finn Russell, one of the stars of full contact. If anyone hasn't watched that, by the way, easy watching, brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, again, trying to get new fans into the sport, I think it will. We should hopefully see that in the viewing figures. But again, no bonus point for Scotland winning, having gone 27-0 up with 3 tries. It's like, wow. Suddenly it really is falling into place for Ireland, and that's like I know it would have been Ireland were the favourites anyway going into it, but like if you're looking at it from a title alone point of view, forget about a Grand Slam for a minute, but a title alone, it's like, well, France are bottom with no points. Scotland and England didn't get a bonus point in Wales or Cardiff, and suddenly, like, I fancy Ireland to do anything that they wouldn't. So even from a title point of view, we could have it wrapped up by round 5.
Yeah.
Clip that.
There you go. That will never come back to haunt you.
No.
100%. But what I love about the way this weekend is set up now is that when you look at the week 2 fixtures, initially when you would have kind of went out at the offset and said France are going to be raging coming into this tournament, they had a World Cup, kind of, they believed they were the best team. They could have a reasonable argument to say they were the best team in the World Cup, but they just had a coin toss of a game against South Africa in the quarterfinals. Obviously, that amazing, incredible game to perk us back up after our own disappointing loss to New Zealand. But now, all of a sudden, you look at them going to Murrayfield on Saturday, and that's by far the game of the round. That's where, like, now they're very vulnerable away from home.
Don't have a great record there either in recent years.
Yeah. It's going to be great. I cannot wait. Six Nations final points. Kento, we're running out of time, but I do want to get your thoughts. I want to stick it to the mast, and I want to get another clippable clip. Ireland Grand Slam, is it nailed on, or is there a bit of road to run yet in the Six Nations?
I'm not going to say nailed on, but the only thing that could trip us up to Twickenham, and we have a good record in Twickenham and Andy Farrell. Like, again, it's one of them things where it'll be a defensive game if it is, but Ireland teams can't seem to stop us from recently scoring. So good luck to them. If France couldn't do it on their home patch, I don't see how England are going to be able to.
Yeah, I agree. It's and if I think something goes wrong if we don't win a Grand Slam here. And I would not have had that confidence going into Friday, but amazing. We're back. We're back.
It's never been done. Back-to-back Grand Slams, literally never been done in the history of Six Nations, and we're going, Oh, it's disappointing if we don't do it now on perhaps next weekend.
You give us a look at, give us let us be seen on Netflix, and we're all over it. Like, we're just showing off now. Kento, always an absolute pleasure to discuss sports with you anytime. Loving our Super Bowl bet, so we'll see which one does and doesn't come true. But yeah, no, Kento. But if you haven't already, guys, follow Kento on social media at Kento CCFC everywhere. Buy a paper, buy the Irish Examiner, where you'll see Kento's amazing work continued there. Occasional darts columns as well. Now he's getting at it in.
Yeah,
Bit of everything.
€4 for the first 3 months offer. Actually, now great rugby content as well. Donald Lenihan is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, there you go. Okay, Kento, cannot recommend all of that enough, guys. Thanks for joining us, Kento. We'll talk more ourselves during the week, and we'll chat here again on page 180 very shortly.